Welcome to WorksheetCloud Grade 9 English. So good to be with you guys today. I hope that you are doing well. I hope that you had a lovely and good start to your week and that you're feeling positive. I know a lot of us are starting to lose a little bit of patience with all of this or these lockdown rules, but we need to keep working together. We need to make sure that our kindness for one another is not lost in the middle of all of this. And I just really hope that as we start our lesson today, you're in a good set of mind or a good state of mind. And if not, hopefully we can work together and get you off to a positive start. Right, so a little bit more motive given us a lot of time. And that's why I think this is important. Because sometimes later becomes never, in that we put things off, and often it's the things we actually love doing, but we feel that we don't have time. I know I love writing, and if I look back at lockdown, I'm actually quite sad that I didn't get to do a lot of writing because I had so much work. But I still have time to reflect, I can still make some changes, and it's really good to set some time aside and do those things for you now, because often we push it aside and push it away and we never really get to do it. So if it's important to you, make a time. Okay, so what do you need for today's lesson? You need pen and paper. We will be working through an activity or two where you'll have to just identify some components. So if you don't have pen or paper, feel free to pause the video, go grab what you need, and then we'll get going. Right, today we are looking at nouns and pronouns. Now, this will definitely be revision, but it's a good thing to revise at the same time as us looking at nouns and pronouns. We're also going to be looking at what is called textual editing. Now, textual editing is a whole lot of grammar rules that you need to be wary of when you write. These rules are going to take the form of your language component for the senior grades and all the way up until your matric exams. So slowly but surely it would have been introduced to you already in grade 8. So what we'll do today, we'll look at common nouns, proper nouns, agent nouns, collective nouns, abstract nouns, compound nouns. Then we'll look at what's called countable and uncountable nouns, mostly known as the many-much rule. So that is a textual editing noun rule. We will then look at pronouns, personal, reflexive, relative, indefinite. I'm going to move me so you can see. Demonstrative, demonstrative, however you pronounce, it's really up to you. Interrogative, interrogative, and possessive. Then we'll circle back and look at two textual editing rules. When do you use the subjective or objective case, I or me? And when to use the relative pronoun who or whom. So we're going to be touching base today on the nouns and pronouns that you know, but we'll also be incorporating a little bit of extra just to get you going for textual editing. Okay, we're going to start with nouns. And I'm sure you all remember these types of nouns. So you get proper nouns. I think they're the easiest to identify because it has a capital letter. So proper nouns will be places, people, or even things, but it has to be a capitalized something. So Shakespeare, Monday, Cape Town, right? So a proper noun is a name of a person, place, or thing. Then common nouns, right? These are the most common. They are there to identify tangible objects, things you can apply the 5 senses to. Boys, cricket, phone, coffee, desks, pens, paper. So common nouns are objects, which you can think about it like this. You can always put it in a box, no matter how big the box needs to be. Abstract nouns, this is now when you can't perceive it through your 5 senses. It's more of a feeling and or some type of verb that is not being used as a verb. It's being used to describe or name rather something. So you can be brave, but if you play bravery, that is an abstract noun. Delight, love, hate, friendship, all abstract. You can't put it in a box. Right, so a proper noun, capital letter. Common noun, put it in a box most of the time. Abstract noun, can't put in a box. So those are little hints for you to remember. Okay, so those are just 3 of the ones we're looking at. Collective nouns refer to groups and therefore the name for the group. There'll always be this word of because it's a group of whatever they're talking about. There are lots of different collective nouns for lots of different aspects. We'll look here, cast of actors, choir of singers, a litter of cubs, a kennel of dogs, a flight of birds, batch of cakes, bottle of milk, school of fish. So there's a whole lot of different ones that you'll have to know. Just remember they name the group. Right, then we get to compound nouns. A compound noun will have a hyphen most of the time because the hyphen is there to form the compound word. And with a compound noun, it is when you take two, put them together, and now it forms one concept, one noun. A walking stick, it's tangible, but because it has that hyphen, it is now a compound noun. Ice cream, also another one. I'm talking about the ice cream out of the bowl, not ice cream. Right, then the last one we're looking at is an agent noun. Now these, they can be confusing because it can also be a common noun. So your teacher will always allow on a memo for it to go both ways. But always try and remember, it's when you take a verb, teach, run, sing, dance, and then you go and you add on a suffix, er, ar, whatever's necessary, and it becomes a person, teacher, actor, burglar. So an agent noun is taking a verb plus a suffix to make a person, if that helps you remember a bit more clearly. Right, I would like you guys to first listen as I read out this paragraph. Then you're going to press pause, and all the underlined words, you're going to identify what type of noun it is. You can already start thinking while I read. Teenagers are missing out on school at the moment, but not all teenagers are actually missing school. Some learners can't wait to go out again. Others don't really want to, happy to stay home, connected to the outside world and friendships only through their computer. Some are worried about the coronavirus, and others instead are more concerned about the climate crisis. Everyone is different, and so it is impossible to claim that groups of people react in the same way to lockdown. Right, so at this moment, press pause and quickly identify for me. All right, I hope you guys were able to pull out there exactly what type of nouns they were. So the first one was learners. You could say common, but you could also say agent because to learn is a verb plus the suffix er or plural ers. We now have a person, a learner. Friendships are abstract. You can't put it in a box. It's a feeling, and you also can't use the senses to touch or taste or feel it. Computer, common noun. Coronavirus is a proper noun, right? It's naming an actual disease or virus. Climate crisis was a compound noun because climate crisis is now a concept, one thing using a hyphen. Groups of people, collective. Right, so each of those were one of the noun types. And again, like I've said, this is more than likely very much revision. Now we're going to look at countable and uncountable nouns. I'm going to show you a quick introductory video. I'd like you to think, there's an exception to the rule here. If you can count something, obviously you know it means, like for instance, if I say how many desks are in my classroom, I can count. But if I have to say to you, how much strength does that person possess? I can't count strength. So countable, you can count. Uncountable, you can't. See if you pick up on the exception to the rule. There's something in this video that is said to be uncountable, and you might stop and go, no, that doesn't sound right. Let's see if you can pick up. All right, so we're going to watch intro video. How do you handle a countable versus an uncountable noun?
Countable and uncountable nouns.
Countable nouns, individual people, animals, places, things, ideas which can be counted.
Uncountable nouns are not individual objects. They cannot be counted. Let's check out some examples.
Photographs,
Intelligence,
musical instruments,
music,
cookies,
cheese,
hours, minutes, seconds,
money.
opinions,
All right, I hope you picked up there on the word money.
Advice,
Now, you might say to me, ma'am, 100% you can count money. You can count notes and coins, but as a concept, money is more of a general term. It's the same as sand or hair. You can count strands of hair if you really want to. You can go count grains of sand. But if someone just talks about hair or sand in general as a total, you're not going to be able to say it's countable. So I don't say how many money is in your wallet, how many sands do you see. I will say much. How much money do you have? How much sand is on the beach? So that leads me to showing you. If it is an uncountable noun, you use the word much before it. If it is a countable noun, like computers, you use many. There are many computers. So have a look here. Courage, that's an abstract noun. Desks, common noun. Which one can you count? Okay, desks. Which one can you not count? Courage. Therefore, desks will be many desks. Courage will be much courage. So much you use for uncountable nouns. Many you use for countable nouns. All right, so that's the many much rule. And it's one that you're definitely going to take with you into matric. So remember this many much countable uncountable noun rule. It's really going to help you. We're now going to move on to pronouns, and like I said, we'll also deal with a textual editing rule or two. Pronouns take the place of a noun or another pronoun, saving the need to write the noun twice. Now, let's pretend your sister's name is Emily. Okay, I'm being very general now. I'm not going to say Emily walked into Emily's room to grab Emily's phone. I will say Emily walked into her room to grab her phone. So that's what a noun does. It replaces a pronoun so that the sentence still makes sense. You know who is being spoken about, but you're not repeating their name the whole time. Let's look at the different types of pronouns. Firstly, a personal pronoun. Personal pronouns are like common nouns. They're the most common. You get I, we, you, he, she. her, his. So personal pronouns there are very much the ones that, and you can also get its. There we go. They're very much just the normal ones replacing people. Then, like I said, don't worry, there are different pronunciations. Don't feel silly if you're saying it a different way. Demonstrative or demonstrative. It's used to identify nouns. So it's almost like you're demonstrating, you're pointing to it. This is my house. That is where I live. All right, so those ones there, that, this, these, and those are the ones that are demonstrative or demonstrative. Interrogative, think there, okay, interrogative or interrogative. It sounds like an interrogation, which means questions are being asked. So these are used to ask questions. Who lives there? All right, so those are question pronouns. Then we get a relative pronoun. This is the who and whom. So it normally joins clauses together, or it gives us a bit of extra information to the noun. Indefinite pronouns are used for unspecified objects. Someone, anybody, anyone. All right, so those are indefinite. Reflexive, nice and easy because they always end in self. Myself, herself, himself. So you know these. These have been done with you since primary school. But that's just for you to then again make sure you understand and revise pronouns. Let's now look at some pronoun textual editing. This gets a lot of people. When do you use I and when do you use me? Because often what sounds right actually isn't. So let's look at this sentence. John and I or me are going to the movies. Now, when you get this and you have to make a choice, what you do is the following. Look at who the other person in the sentence is. Here, it is John. Okay, let's eliminate John. Not in life, just from the sentence. And instead of saying John and, I'm rather going to have a look here at I or me. Now let's think. Do you say, I am, because you change it to am, I am going to the movies, or me are, or me am going to the movies? It's I. So therefore, you would say John and I are going to the movies. Let's see if you can do another one. The tickets were given to John and I or me. Again, let's take the other person, John, out of the sentence. The tickets were given to I. The tickets were given to me. Obviously, me makes sense. So then it has to be the tickets were given to John and me. So always remember, you take out the other person, then read the sentence using I or me and see which one makes sense. Now let's look at when to use who and when to use whom. This definitely confuses a lot of people, and it is a difficult one. My teacher is the one who or whom helped me understand. All right, so now we need to think. How on earth do you decide? Because both sound correct. What you have to do is you have to ask yourself about the subject of the sentence. Who helped me understand? She did. He did. Answer in pronoun form. If your answer is he or she, then you must use who. So who helped me understand? Imagine you're looking. She did, my teacher. Therefore, you use who. All right, so just remember, if your answer is he or she, you use who. Let's look at the next one. Who or whom did you choose as our class captain? So now you again think, I chose her, I chose him. If your answer is her or him, then you use whom. Alright, so if your answer is he or she, you use who. If your answer is her or him, you use whom. Try and remember it like this. Whom ends in an M. Him ends in an M. All right, so that is a little hint on how you know when to use the different pronouns. All right, so there it is. Whom, the owl says. I hope that you guys were able to take a lot of this revision, but mostly just remember the many much rule. When do you use I or me? When do you use who or whom? Because those are mistakes and errors that not only creep into your writing, but they're ones you're going to have to identify as you go forward with your school year. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching Grade 9s. This lesson was brought to you by WorksheetCloud. Please go back and watch some of the other lessons if you haven't yet. There's loads of revision, lots of literature, poetry, short stories, just things to keep you positive, busy. But as I said, remember, don't put off what you know you love doing. That is also important. Alright, so Grade 9s from WorksheetCloud and me, Mrs. Nortier, signing off, and I'll see you guys later in the week. Goodbye.